Tēnā koutou katoa, welcome to this interactive LIANZA webinar. Oops, sorry, I'm letting somebody else in just as I said that, sod's law. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Helen Heath and I'm the comms advisor at LIANZA and I'm assisting Laura today, and I'm still just letting a couple of people in as I speak. Laura Caygill is the Community Experiences and Diversity Team Leader at Waimakariri Libraries, and she's leading today's discussion on positive and inclusive approaches to behaviour management and connecting and engaging with children and youth in library spaces. And I'm just letting some more people in. So we've got participants from all over the country today, and if you'd like, as I said earlier, getting more people in. If you, as I said earlier, if you'd like to put your name and where you come from into the chat, we'll see our full spread. And I'm just letting some more people in. So as I said earlier, if you can just make sure that you've named yourselves, and if there's more than one of you on a device, if you could put both of your names on the display. You hover over the image of yourself and you see 3 little dots, and you click on that and you can have an option to rename yourself. And then when I put you in the breakout rooms for discussions, I know I can get a better idea about how many of you are in a breakout room. I've just got a couple of housekeeping notes. If you can keep your microphones muted if you're not speaking, and that just helps to reduce the amount of background noise that we have. That would be ka pai choice. It's nice if you've got a video, but it's not absolutely necessary. At the end, we're going to send out a short survey, and we'd really appreciate your feedback. And there'll also be an option to join a mailing list for people who want to form a peer support group. So that's all from me. I'm going to hand over to Laura.
Thanks, Helen. Oh, kia ora koutou. It's so great to be here today. We're going to kick off the session with a karakia. So, Helen, I think we have that up on our first slide for everyone too.
Sharing my screen.
Okay.
Is that showing all right?
Yep. Just jump to the next slide.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Here we go.
Beautiful. Okay. Whakataka hau ki te uru, whakataka hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. E he ake ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei mauri ora. Wow, no mai. Welcome everyone. It is really lovely to have you all along here today. I know you all have really busy days, and there's many things that can keep us from catching up like this. So I really do appreciate you all coming in and taking the time to be here. Helen, if you want to jump to the next slide, I thought I'd start off with a whakatauki that I thought set well for what we're talking about today. He moana pupuke ka ekengia e te waka. Choppy sea can be navigated. Thank you to those of you who filled out the survey that we sent through a couple of days ago. The responses to that were really interesting to read through, and what really came home for me was the fact that we are all dealing with really similar challenges, and we all have the same goals and hopes and wishes for our library spaces and for our communities. So it can sometimes seem like, you know, it's a really choppy sea. We get difficult behaviours to manage. We have commitments that we need to uphold. We need to train our staff to help out. And that can be really tough, but we can navigate it together. So hopefully some of the things we talk about today will give you ideas that you can go forward with. He waka eke noa. We are all in this together, and I'm really interested to see what we come up with today. I really want to make it a really safe space where people can volunteer their thoughts and ideas. So please don't feel that any contribution is too small to share. We're all here together to share and learn from each other. Right, so jumping to the next slide. I want to start off, we've kind of said where we're from in the chat, but some of us have arrived at different times. So we're going to pop you into breakout rooms, and if you just want to share your name, where you're from, and just maybe talk about something that's really important that you have coming up. So a wee chance to just get to know some other people that we've got on the call today.
You ready then?
Yeah.
So just click on the invitation to join the breakout room.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Hopefully your breakout rooms all worked well and you've had a bit of a chance to introduce yourselves and some important things that come up. In the room that I was in, a lot of the important things were school holiday related. Does anyone else have any important things coming up that they thought they wanted to share from their group?
Just got a couple of rooms that are still
coming back. Cool.
coming back.
No other important things. I'm amazed.
We've got all our community groups coming back after ours.
Oh, cool. Has that been, that's been on hold till now?
Yes. Yeah. So we're starting them straight after school holidays.
Yeah.
We've got a murder mystery happening on the 21st of August. And we've got a writers' festival in September. Another quiz night, school holidays. You know, just usual.
Go.
Yeah.
Murder mystery for teens, Vicky, or for older people?
For adults at the moment.
We just did one for teens the other day, and I was thinking, oh, maybe we can share notes.
Jesse?
Thanks, Jesse.
For the teens?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. It was based on the board game, the Sherlock Holmes board game.
Oh, yeah.
So all the kids got clues from there, and then we made our building into a giant board game. So instead of Cluedo rooms, we had separate rooms with librarians all themed. It was very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And I see Jay's just put in the comments about escape rooms. Jay, do you have an escape room coming up, or have you just done one?
It was a little while ago. I have no idea when it was.
No,
Possibly last year, maybe the beginning of this year. It might have been over the Christmas holidays. I can't even remember.
Mine started again in level 1, so you're okay.
Yeah, it was in the past at some point. It wasn't actually me, it was a couple of colleagues. We were just discussing them. Thanks, Chris. February this year, apparently.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome idea. Great. Are we all back, Helen?
Yes, we're all back. You just tell me when you want me to share the screen again.
Cool. If you want to share the screen and jump to the next slide. 1, 2, 3, maybe in the slide number 5. So as I said, thank you to those of you who filled out the survey that we sent around. No, not everyone would have had time. So I wondered if you all want to bring up so you can see your chat, and I'd love it if everyone could just drop into the chat what the answer to this question is for them. It can be really brief, it could just be a word or two, or it could be something more substantial. But I'd like to get a sense of what we're all thinking and feeling about what the most challenging thing for us is about managing the behaviour of children and youth in our libraries. So if you want to go ahead and drop that into the chat, just bringing my chat window up. Cool. Lack of common knowledge, social media, or common language, sorry, social media lingo. Nice, Diego. Not having the same perspectives. Yep, attitudes of the team, often negative. Balancing empathy for their tricky life situations and keeping, I just scrolled down from that. What was that one? You guys are so quick. So balancing empathy for their tricky life situations with keeping a reasonable expectation of behaviour and safety. Getting everyone on board. Staff with different tolerance causes issues. Managing non-local kids who are here for sports events when you don't have relationships with them. Tweens hyped up. Parents ignoring behaviour. Staff scared of having situations escalate and not being able to cope. We need to get more people into the library. Finding a good balance between managing teenage behaviour, mucking around in corners, messing around in corners, it's always in the corners, and then being able to have safe, inclusive space for them. Also finding activities they're interested in, it's hit and miss. being relevant and also having respect without being teachery. Communication, an obsession with games. Some in the team being too strict, others not wanting to deal with them. Managing how I feel while having to approach teens who may be a little rowdy or pushing boundaries. Group dynamics and the herd mentality. Parental unsupervision, again there from Diego. I hope what you guys are seeing in these is a sense of similarity. We might not all have the same specific problem, but I think what comes through here is some different categories. One of them is behaviour. So,
well, I'm going to go and sit in the lunchroom.
Behaviour is a massive one. So how do we actually create an environment in which we get positive behaviour from the kids and only have to manage instances where that might flare up every now and then? How do we manage those instances of bad behaviour when they do flare up? Participation, how do we get people through the door? Comment there from Adrian, helping staff to see their own personal biases when dealing with teens, which creates different standards of behavioural expectation in our libraries. Yeah, we all bring our own opinions, thoughts, values, experiences to work, and they can be so different. And there's an element of self-awareness when we come to treat other people in all the interactions that we have in our lives and in the library, but they can particularly be on display when we're dealing with teens. Adrian, did you want to talk a bit about how you approach that with your team?
Probably quite poorly at the moment. That's why I'm here. I think it's, I mean, part of it is actually working close.
Oh, you're coming in and out, Adrian.
With your team to see that they do have those. Sorry.
You're coming in and out, but I think what you were trying to say was part of what might work is working closely with your team to see what those underlying perceptions might be. I think Adrian's dropped off to fix her speaker, but let's go with that because it seems like a very wise thing to say. Cool. We're going to touch on some ideas to help with this sort of stuff a bit later. So we've got managing behaviour, participation, getting people through the door, the idea of managing different people in a shared space. I mean, that's just so key for us in public libraries. And then staff. And I think that's sort of 4 main ones. I might have missed some there, but you can see from the comments that we're all here today because we all struggle with these things, and they're, no worries, Adrian. And so we're going to try to nut out what some solutions might be and how to approach finding a solution together with your teams. One way that I like to approach this kind of thing, Helen, if you want to jump to the next slide, is building a strategy. Now, you might think when you think of this, oh, but that's so big and it might involve lots of work. But I think if you take the kind of steps involved in creating a strategy, you can do it on a really big scale or you can do it on a really small scale. So something that I've done with teams in the past is looking at the behaviour that was going on in the library and thinking, well, what do we actually want to see? And then working out a very specific path to get there. You could do that over the course of a year or 2, or you could use it for a week to say, what do we want to have happen on Friday? And just, you know, really basic steps to get there, as big or as small as you need. So to take this thinking, I want to get us started thinking about what it is we want to create in our libraries. Now, we're going to do this together, and hopefully all the ideas that we have will resonate with some of you, if not all of you, and we've got enough different things that you can pick and take. So we're going to try out using the whiteboard function for this. So Helen, if you want to see if we can get the whiteboard. Has anyone used the whiteboard on Zoom before? It's something I only learnt about recently, so we're going to see if we can give it a go. And oh, Sally says no. Watch this, Sally. It's going to be amazing. Cool. So I'm going to write up here. We're going to start looking at a strategy. So the first step is, can I type in there? Oh, it's not letting me type, Helen. One moment, caller. Oh, Helen, can you type?
Sorry, I just made you a co-host, so
Oh, great.
it might change things.
Okay. View options, annotate. Ah, look at that. Here we go. Okay. So we're going to start off by thinking, what is it that we're building? So if you guys just want to throw some ideas at me, I will be able to write them up on the whiteboard and we'll start our planning. Now, Helen, I can't see the chat, so if you could just share anything that comes up in the chat with me, that would be great. Welcoming space. Lovely, Fiona.
Just a note to say, yes, we can mail everything out at the end.
Cool. Welcoming space, inclusive spaces. This is great. Exciting. Exciting spaces. Digital reading, happy, engaged teens. These are coming in so fast, I'm not even getting a chance to type all of them. Relevant resources. Staff wanting teens in the library. In the library as much as other customers. An area teens want to be in. Agree with Jessie. What was Jessie's comment? You can talk to me, guys, as well as jumping in the chat.
Jesse's comment was staff wanting teens in the library just as much as the other customers.
Oh, safe, inclusive space, fun and engaging. Now, I've missed a lot writing these up on the whiteboard, so please don't feel that I've missed your idea personally. It's simply that they've been so fast. What haven't we got in there? A space teens can own, safety for teens and children. Yep, safety is key.
Maybe some cultural stuff?
Yeah.
Cultural identity?
Cultural identity.
Or community identity?
Mm-hmm. Ways for teens to have input. A place which all children can feel welcomed. Cool. A way of encouraging teens to come in. Yeah. Awesome, guys. A safe place for teens, something unique that they can't get anywhere else. Cool. So when you look at all of these things that we've got up here on our whiteboard, access to books and technology, oh, there's just great, guys, they keep coming. Keep sending them through because we can all pick them up from the chat afterwards. So just keep those contributions coming. They're really, really great. And you can start to see the heart of what it is that we want our kids to feel when they come in the door. We want them to have fun. We want them to feel welcome. We want them to feel included. We want them to feel that their cultural identity is recognised. We want them to be engaged with what we're doing. So you get an idea of what you're hoping they get out of coming in. The other aspect we've got in here is what we want staff to feel. We want staff to feel that they want the teens to come in here. If you look at a comment like staff wanting teens in the library as much as the customers, I think it's really useful to think about what is behind that. What are the things that if staff wanted teens in the library, how would they feel about the teens to want that? Are there any ideas? The comment came up before that at the moment they think their staff are feeling scared. Mutual respect. Yeah, that's great, Fiona. Caring and helpful staff.
We,
Not like the parents.
yeah, here at Fielding, we got the staff to actually get to know the kids a bit more.
Great idea.
You know them by name, a little bit about them, you know, ask them questions what they're doing and how their day was and stuff like that. And that's helped a lot.
Do that
and also that we as senior staff are there to back them up if they, you know, and support them. For feeling uncomfortable or feeling,
now my whiteboard is getting very crowded.
To whoever was just talking before, how did you do that and get them to want to engage with you? Because often we'll try and do that sort of thing and they're like, oh, just go away, miss.
Just by that, just persisting with them, really. Like, hey dude, how was your day? What have you been up to? And just by chance and overhearing conversations, you'll pick out what their names are, what school, and usually they're in a school uniform. So you can sort of talk about school or rugby or, I don't know, just some common topic that, you know.
Kid stuff.
Yes, I just
The kids, they'd be interested in.
Yeah. Those are great points, Vicky. It takes work, doesn't it? Yeah. But I think
it's not easy.
No, one of the things, so this is the kind of the first point in the strategy building is all of this brainstorming around what things you want to see, hear, feel. And I think given the fact that we've noticed that some of our teams do have problems or struggle with their own perceptions or managing behaviour, some might be a bit nervous, some might be scared, some might be totally free and easy, but they're a bit heavy-handed. It's really important to kind of clarify as a team, well, how do we want to feel in this space? Do we want to feel safe? Do we want to feel excited to do programming with teams? Because focusing on the how you want to feel can help you figure out how you want to get there. Remember how emotional and crazy we felt when we were teens can help sometimes. Absolutely, Catherine. Yeah.
So just a code of conduct and just laying, sounds awful, but pulling them up, being consistent and knowing that we won't put up with any rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, that there are consequences for them to, if they want to stay here, they've got to respect us.
Cool. I think what Vicky, you've nailed that on the head, Vicky. One of the next steps, so if we think of our next step in our strategy, absolutely be open to making mistakes. Code of conduct goes both ways. Oh, you guys just have such awesome ideas. Making 1 or 2 key relationships with regular teams begins to spill over. Who are your key power players in the group? Who are the ringleaders? Who do you need to get on side to bring all the others with you to follow? I think to discuss the next point, I think I want to get us into breakout rooms and then we might come back. So we've done that kind of first step in strategic planning, which is what do we want to see? What are we building? What are we aiming for? The next step, which Vicky's already started to touch on, in fact, a lot of you have, is what do we need to do to get there? 100% Diego, if we expect misbehaviour, we'll get misbehaviour. Yep. So what do we need to put in place to make sure our staff are feeling comfortable? What do we need to put in place to make sure we're being welcoming? To make sure that our teens are having fun while keeping everyone safe? There are lots of different answers and we've already heard some, but I'm really interested to see what you might come up with in your groups and then we'll have a bit of a report back. So Helen, are we ready to, no worries Pam, are we ready to jump into breakout rooms again? Cool. So have a think about what specific things we might need to do. All right. Oh, cool. Looks like everyone's jumping back now.
Thank you for giving us 5 minutes on that chat room.
No worries.
Thank you so much.
I mean, really squeezing all this stuff into an hour is pretty tricky.
No, that's all right. That's nice, actually. It's good to talk with all the librarians. And since I come from a school library, you know, so it's a little different.
Oh, you must have such great insights.
Oh yes, we don't have a very big library. I'm from India, by the way, and I'm from Kolkata, and I work in an international school. So our school is completely a Cambridge school,
Right.
and we have students from all over. We even have students from New Zealand who are staying here, so it's really nice. But the most challenging thing is when we, our little kids, our small ones. It's very difficult to get them to attention to details. They are very restless sometimes in the library, but it's good. And I also wanted to add, which I was also adding in the small group rooms, that we have a corner in the library called the I Heart Book Corner. And whenever our students really enjoy the book that they read in the library, they put it up with a heart.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and they take the heart from me. They write the name of the book in the heart with their name in it. And whenever anyone comes into the library, they see this beautiful corner filled with hearts.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Sarah. That's really lovely.
Yeah, I
cool.
know.
We're wrapping up now because we've only got 9 minutes left. So I'm just going to quickly, sorry,
sure.
We're going to just recap. I'm hoping that you guys had some really good discussions and shared some great things that you can potentially put in place with your teams. It's okay to feel pretty general about it and then spend a good while nutting out the specifics. I think that can actually be really helpful sometimes, because then you know that your whole team is together and on the same page in terms of what you're rolling out. Some of the things we talked about in my group were, Eliana was talking about a teen advisory board, so actually talking to teens and seeing what they want, building connections with the kids, building connections with local youth groups, consistency in dealing with behaviour. We noted that some staff are more skilled than others, so actually developing the expectation that those staff will share their skills with staff that are less comfortable. Having sort of buddying systems like that can be really helpful. And thinking about who in the community you can tap into to get their knowledge. One thing that I've done in libraries before is actually go to the local school where the kids go and figure out how their behaviour is managed there, and actually ask the school what techniques they're using, so you can use the same techniques and language in the library. In the library I was working in, we found it was just amazing the change in behaviour that came with it, because we weren't confusing the kids by trying a different approach. We were using exactly the same wording, the same behaviour, the same physical stance, and it really, really paid off. Yeah, Melanie, lots of councils now have youth councils. So in the last sort of few minutes, if you want to just type in the chat the nuggets that you found really, really great coming out of that conversation, because I know you guys had some great conversation in there, and then everyone will send out the chat transcript afterwards so you can grab the ideas from there. Helen, if you just want to bring up the slides again, I just want to really quickly touch on a couple of things that I found pretty powerful in creating team strategies before. One of those things is the concept of āhurutanga. And āhurutanga means warmth or comfort in te reo Māori. And I didn't know this word until it was shared with me by a Māori gentleman whose son was behaving pretty interestingly in the library. And we talked about the kind of environment we wanted to build together. He was really open, and kids come a long way. And the word he offered was āhurutanga. So that's something that, it's a word that I use to think about the space that we want to create when the kids come in. And the other word that I think is pretty important and will probably be known to a lot of you is whakawhanaungatanga. And that for me is a really central concept in building relationships. Getting to know kids by name, making sure that all the staff know the kids by name, and not just building connections with the kids, but beyond that to schools, community groups, all that as well. I don't think that will be foreign to any of you guys, all those concepts. I've got some resources that I thought you might want to look at that might be useful, as well as the reading that I sent out and listening to Richie on Radio New Zealand. He's always really good. This first one, Te Kete Ipurangi, is a Ministry of Education resource, and it's quite a big document, but it's called Guide to Behaviour and Learning. And there's some really good stuff in there about behaviour management. So if you're looking for some different techniques, I think it can be really useful as a place to start, and maybe as a place to frame talking to schools. And then just an interesting report from the Office of the Children's Commissioner, a report that they did, which had some really quite amazing insights, and it really hit home for me the importance of finding out what's important to kids and what matters, and that could differ depending on where you are. It could differ on the community that you're working with, but this particular report was around engaging with Māori youth and seeing what was important to them. And I just want to read you the insights that came out of this. So the voices, I think they talked to about 150 Māori tamariki and rangatahi. Insight number 1 was, my cultural identity is my journey. Insight number 2, I need to feel safe and belong so I can reach my potential. Insight number 3, I need adults who care about me. Insight number 4, I want to take away mum's stress. And insight number 5, I travel the digital world. When I read those, I thought they were pretty powerful, and especially that one about feeling safe and feeling that their culture is recognised and being able to achieve. And I thought, wow, if we don't want to make people feel safe and recognised in libraries, what are we doing? So I hope that today has been useful. We've got time for a couple of questions or any quick stories if people want to share them. If someone had something really great to share in a group, please jump up. We've had lots of stuff coming through in the chat. Having a discussion. Yeah, please go ahead, Jessie.
There was someone that put on the chat a little while ago that teens are very specific about their books and having bad behaviours about them. I'll chuck my email in the chat, and I'm dyslexic, so if anyone has any troubled youth that are coming in that really just don't understand how to get into reading for the first place, like I didn't start reading till I was 20, so I really like to kind of find those kids and be like, well, you're going to be starting earlier than me, so you'll be fine. Yeah. I've got a pretty good list of books that are quite quick and engaging and stuff, and they work quite well here for getting kids reading quite quickly. Great.
As Helen mentioned at the beginning, given the ideas and experience that are being shared today and that have come through in the survey we did beforehand, we are really keen to know if people are interested in having a sort of group set up to discuss these things ongoing. Fiona, I see your question there, just wondering if LIANZA is considering a youth SIG. Good question. Ka kite. I think there's, we could have some real benefit in continuing this discussion from here. So thank you. I've got my contact details there if anyone wants to get in touch. And we'll just close with our closing karakia. This is one that is written by Scotty Morrison, and Stacey Morrison shared it on Facebook recently, and she said, please use it. It's available for using. If you like it, if it resonates with you, she said, please do use it. So if this is something that resonates with you, please take it from me. I have taken it from Stacey. So here we go. Te whakaeatanga e, te whakaeatanga e. Tēnei te kaupapa ka ea. Tēnei te wānanga ka ea. Te mauri o te kaupapa ka whakamoia. Te mauri o te wānanga ka whakamoia. Koia ki ronga, koia ki raro. Haumi e, hui e, tā ki e. Kia ora everyone. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us for the chat.
Kia ora. Thank you so much, Laura. That was fantastic. And I just want to reiterate to people that yes, we have a CYA group who are working towards the CYA conference, so we can put you in touch with them. I think some of you might even be in this webinar at the moment. I just want to remind people that we'll be sending out a link with the recording of the webinar and the chat stream, so you can go back and have a look. And if you do have a chance to do the survey post webinar, you have an option to join a mailing list. So if you want to create a community of practice around this and keep the conversation going, or request another meetup, then we're very happy to help facilitate that. So do leave your contact details through the survey if you want that. So I just want to put together my hands for Laura and say thank you so much for facilitating the webinar today. It was fantastic, really useful.
Oh, you're so welcome, guys. It was really fun. I hope everyone got a lot out of it.